Let's face it, sex is everywhere. It's in the songs we hear, the ads we see, the stories we tell. But beyond the cultural noise and awkward jokes, sex is one of biology's strangest and most powerful inventions. Why don't all organisms just copy themselves? Think about it. Cloning yourself sounds easy and efficient. No searching for a partner, no awkward dating, no risk of rejection or wasted energy. Many organisms actually do this. Bacteria split in two. Single-celled organisms divide endlessly. Plants sprout from cuttings, and some lizards can even create offspring without males. Asexual reproduction is simple, safe, and requires far fewer resources. But here's the twist. While asexual organisms might seem efficient, they're playing a dangerous game. Every clone is nearly identical to the last. In a stable environment, that's fine. But if something changes, a virus, a predator, a sudden drought, that sameness becomes a weakness. Whole populations can be wiped out because they can't adapt fast enough. Sexual reproduction, on the other hand, is messy, costly, and unpredictable, but it creates variety. And in nature, variety is often the difference between thriving and disappearing. Sex takes effort. It requires finding a partner, sharing resources, and sometimes competing fiercely. It involves risk, diseases, fights, rejection. And yet, it persists. Why? Because mixing genes gives life a powerful advantage. Imagine a deck of cards. Asexual reproduction deals the same hand over and over again. Sexual reproduction shuffles the deck each time, creating endless combinations. This genetic reshuffling means that no two siblings are exactly alike, and some may carry traits that help them survive challenges their parents never faced. This diversity isn't just interesting, it's survival. When a disease sweeps through a population, the more genetic variety there is, the higher the chance some individuals will resist. When climates change or predators evolve, diverse populations are more flexible and better equipped to adapt. It's like an insurance policy for life. In fact, some studies suggest that sexual reproduction might have evolved as a response to constant threats, parasites, environmental shifts, or competitors that made sameness too risky. Billions of years ago, life began with simple cells that just copied themselves. Then, somewhere along the line, an extraordinary innovation appeared: the exchange of genetic material. At first, this was crude and opportunistic. Microbes would trade bits of DNA almost like passing notes in class. Some bacteria still do this today, sharing genes for antibiotic resistance. But over millions of years, these exchanges became more sophisticated. Cells merged, chromosomes aligned, and eventually, two distinct sets of genetic instructions began combining in predictable ways. This was the beginning of true sexual reproduction. This step changed everything. It meant that offspring could be different from their parents, sometimes stronger, sometimes weaker, but always unique. It accelerated evolution, creating an arms race of adaptation and innovation. From algae to worms to mammals, sexual reproduction allowed life to experiment, to fail and succeed faster than ever before. Life is never still. While one species evolves better defenses, another evolves sharper attacks. Parasites adapt, predators learn, environments shift. The Red Queen hypothesis explains that sex evolved to keep species in this race. It's named after the Red Queen in Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, who says, "It takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place." In biology, that means organisms must keep evolving just to survive. Sexual reproduction keeps the genetic treadmill running, allowing species to produce new combinations that might resist the next disease or exploit a new opportunity. Imagine a farmer planting a field of identical crops. If a pest arrives, it could wipe everything out. But a diverse field with many variations is harder to conquer. Sex is nature's way of planting a diverse field every generation. It's risky, but without it, life might have stagnated long ago. Of course, sex isn't perfect. Every sexual organism only passes on half its genes. That's a big price compared to cloning yourself entirely. Finding a mate can be dangerous. It requires energy, time, and can even attract predators. Some animals fight to the death for the right to reproduce. Yet despite the costs, sex has clear benefits. Genetic diversity fuels resilience, drives evolution, and creates opportunities for incredible complexity. From immune systems that can recognize countless pathogens to brains capable of creativity and problem-solving. This trade-off explains why sex is so common among complex organisms. It's an investment in the unknown. Each generation is a new experiment, a mix of traits that might help or hinder. But enough of those experiments succeed to keep life endlessly adapting. Sex takes many forms. Some fish switch sexes, depending on the needs of their group. Worms can fertilize themselves. Fungi have thousands of mating types. Some insects serenade mates with sound. Others use light. Deep-sea anglerfish fuse together, the male becoming almost a permanent attachment to the female. Birds dance and display colors. Mammals compete with strength or song. Every adaptation is a creative solution to the same problem: how to mix genes and survive. Even humans are part of this spectacle, though our behavior is layered with emotion, culture, and choice. But biologically, we're doing what life has always done, seeking partners to combine our genetic information and give the next generation a shot at thriving. For humans, sex transcended biology. It became emotional, social, cultural. We tell stories about it, legislate it, celebrate it, and sometimes fear it. Love songs, novels, art, and even entire industries revolve around this basic biological act. But underneath, the reason hasn't changed. We mix, adapt, and continue the story of life. Our added layers of meaning don't erase the fact that sex is still about the future, producing individuals who might survive better than we did. And now, with technology, we've started reshaping the process itself. Birth control, fertility treatments, and genetic screening show that we're already tinkering with reproduction, making choices no other species can. Yet, even with all these changes, the value of genetic diversity keeps sex relevant and necessary. We stand on the edge of rewriting the rules. Artificial reproduction, cloning, and gene editing are advancing rapidly. Could sex become optional? Maybe. Scientists can already create embryos in labs and edit their DNA. Some predict a future where people choose traits for their children or bypass traditional reproduction entirely. But there's a reason to be cautious. Without the natural shuffle of sexual reproduction, we could lose the unpredictability that keeps life resilient. Diversity is hard to manufacture. Sex might change, but it's unlikely to disappear. Whether it's through natural means or guided by science, the principle of mixing genes, of not putting all our eggs in one genetic basket, will always hold value. Sex is weird, risky, and wonderful. It's the reason life didn't stay simple. It created diversity, complexity, and resilience. It brought us here. Next time you wonder why life bothers with something so complicated, remember, without sex, the world would be a static, fragile place. Instead, it's a vibrant, chaotic, endlessly creative planet. And all of that, from the tiniest microbe to the tallest tree to use, started with a simple but brilliant idea. Mix things up.